Hello, hello, welcome. We're so glad you're here for September's Advisor Video Academy, How to Build a Better Book of Business. We're glad that our marketing around this topic helped encourage you to register because I am super excited about our special guests today. Angela and Elyse, we have kind of came to us in different ways with different connections. Elyse and I have known each other for years through our kids, which is a fantastic connection. Angela, we were connected through a client. They have created this powerhouse marketing company, custom strategic marketing for wealth advisors. I'm so excited they are here. As most of you know, I'm Laura Garfield, co-founder of Idea Decanter, here with my co-host, Sharon.
I am so thrilled that you joined us today. Angela and Elyse, thank you so much for being here. I don't have quite the history that Laura has with you, but it is always a pleasure to work with you and pick your brain about how you are working with your clients. Elyse, you want to give us a little intro of where you come from?
Sure. So Laura kind of brought the pieces together. Angela and I often like to say it's Laura's fault that custom strategic marketing for wealth advisors actually exists, because she was the one who connected us in 2020 as we were all doing that Zoom. Who can I meet? How can I network? How am I pivoting my business? What does this look like? And she's like, you guys should know each other. So we both obviously trust her and said, sure, we should. So we connected. I come from the big event sports marketing world. Angela comes from years in the advisor space. And in that point was really doing a lot with event planning for advisors. And as we just started talking, we talked about this whole idea of actually having a strategy that ties into events. And as we talked, we actually worked on a project together and discovered that nobody was really talking about this whole concept in the space. And that, as we'll discuss in a little bit, there's about 7 steps that need to happen before you get to that event piece. And then we've been diving into that with advisors for the past couple of years to just understand if you're going to have a quote unquote successful event, there's a lot of things that have to happen before you send out the invitations and pick the room or the Zoom platform that you're going to use.
Thank you, Elyse. Angela, you want to do a very quick intro?
Absolutely. That pretty much sums it all up. Having worked in the advisor marketing space for close to 25 years now, I spent 10 of that actually working in an advisory firm as their director of marketing. And then I went off on my own to consult in the space. Really from that lens, we always did marketing the way we were advised to by compliance and coaches and whatever came across our desks. And we really never, it was almost like autopilot. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. And there's really absolutely no strategy behind it. So when Elyse and I met, and her extensive strategic knowledge and experience combined with what I knew in the advisor space and why the marketing wasn't working and the pandemic on top of it, we kind of created this different lens to the marketing. So it's purposeful and it works, and you're attracting your ideal client, more of the clients that you love to work with and want to work with to help propel your business forward.
So when we talk about a better book of business, if you are here today, if you signed up for this, you must be looking at your client roster and thinking, there are probably some people I could do without here, and I would like to replicate more of these. And I think the logical next thought in the progression is, okay, well, let me look closer at these people. And Angela and Elyse actually say you need to stop looking at the list and start looking at yourself. And guys, what do you mean by that?
Well, so what we've discovered is when you have a better understanding of who you are as a service provider, and what's important to you, you're able to share that with and attract people who are kind of in the same boat with you. So it's sort of this like push and pull. Sharon, if you want to pop up the
Yeah, I'm not seeing the
My
slide.
God, I give us so much interest with what you're saying. I forgot we had a deck.
It's all good because I'm super
they're coming.
excited about this graphic. It's the push and pull. It's that spring that kind of connects you, but you can't have the spring in the middle if you don't kind of know who you are and what your deal is and what you value and what makes you different than everybody else. You can't attract the fingers on the other side.
And if I could jump in, I know all the advisors that I've worked with over the years, you all kind of know what's important to you, but you can go deeper. One of the things we hear is, oh, we're kind, we understand, we're knowledgeable, we're caring. That's fantastic because there are a lot of advisory firms, sometimes the larger wirehouses that you can't really compete with, that does differentiate you. However, we need to dig deeper because put your hat on as a client. If they're looking at a couple different advisory firms, let's say their aunt referred one, their neighbor referred one, they found one that popped up on their feed, whatever it might be, and they're qualifying you before they reach out. What makes you different? You don't want them to be looking and saying, well, they all have blue and they all say they're kind and they all,
They're all a fiduciary.
They're all going to get you to retirement. So what's different? What's your story? We dig behind that. I know we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but what makes you different? Are you focused on the younger parent that's trying to get their child through school and college? Are you 5 years to retire, or do you want your clients 5 years to retirement and they're really trying to look at what's really unique? What makes you get up in the morning? What are your passions?
We talk a lot in marketing about how specific details stand out over generic platitudes. And do you recommend like really digging down and creating like a very detailed, like almost avatar of what you want to project?
Absolutely. And there's a couple reasons to that. When you do that, it sort of becomes apparent. And kind of coming back to this better book of business and looking at like who you can get rid of and who you want to replicate, it allows you to give those clients that you want to replicate the vocabulary to share with their cousins, their neighbors, their whatevers, who are asking for referrals. So almost like an avatar. It could be a list of, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what you enjoy. We do a lot of that with our clients to just kind of go like, who are you? We know you're fiduciary. We know that you're a financial advisor. We know that you work with a certain, vendor or whatever. Those aren't the things that really matter to your better clients.
My favorite is, and Tracy Shaw, our executive producer, and I are on calls every week with advisors who are joining Idea Decanter, and we ask them, how would we describe you? What makes you different? And you would be surprised how many of them say, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, those are the table stakes. You do have to be a qualified financial advisor, but it's really about digging deeper, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that we talk about with our clients to kind of dig into that a little bit more, there are sort of these 4 or 5 questions that are like my favorite questions to ask. And Sharon, if you want to pop up that next slide.
I was getting there.
Excellent. Thank you. This is always a fascinating one. We actually did this exercise with Laura and Sharon on our call as we were planning this one, especially that second one. What did you want to be when you were 14? I'll share. When I was probably 12, it was a little bit younger. I thought that Jane Goodall was the bomb. And I'm like, dude, I love chimpanzees. I want to be like this animal psychologist kind of person. And just like discovering and being curious and like this thing that like very few people are doing. Side note, I don't camp. I like my shower too much. I like a comfortable bed. So that kind of went out the window, but I can pull out those characteristics and go, okay, like I'm super curious. I like to problem solve. I kind of like to be out in the front of the pack. So you can think about what those things were when you were 14 and pull some characteristics out of there that if you take the time, you can kind of see that whole thread. This other question of like, what did you do before you became an advisor? A lot of advisors had a life. I don't know about the folks on our call today. You did something before you became an advisor. What was that? One of our favorites is we have an advisor who was an intensive care nurse, I believe, before she came an advisor. And we were like, caring. Again, you care for people, you want the best for them. And it really also was like, you should be talking to people in like the life sciences, science, medical space, because you speak their language. We've had other advisors who have based their business on the third question. What do you do for fun outside of work? I have a person that I went to high school with who is an advisor, and she is an equestrianist. Anyway, so she works with people to set up trusts and their finances to be able to take care of their horses if and when something happens to them. Super nichey, but it's where her heart is. And that last one is, what are your big rocks? Stop me if you've heard this one before. I've seen this as a presentation at a conference. Big, like aquarium of water. Big rocks, little pebbles, sand. How do you fit them all inside the big aquarium? I'll fill you in. You put the big rocks in first, and then the pebbles and the sand kind of fill in the middle. The big rocks are like, what are your non-negotiables? What are your like super important values? Those also are really great things to be able to identify in yourself. And oftentimes then you use that to identify in your better clients.
So those are great questions. What would you tell an advisor to do? Sit down and just do some soul searching, some digging, and see where you can get?
So I think these are just sort of like where do we start in all of this, right? And then if you see a pattern, or if there's a trusted person in your life who could help you kind of see that pattern, it becomes pretty obvious, like what those things are that make you different than the other advisors in your area.
I do think it is fabulous to be able to rely on outside eyes, because I think we are so in ourselves constantly 24/7 that it's easy to forget what we're good at or where we really shine, because to us it just feels like, oh, that's just my everyday life. And to have somebody outside of yourself to help, is that what custom strategic marketing offers advisors, like as those outside eyes to help them fine tune where they really shine?
Absolutely. And whether it's us or a trusted friend, the key is going to be someone who can see the patterns, right? You want someone who knows you well enough, maybe, that can help kind of pull some of that stuff out. But the key to all of this is being able to see the patterns and go, okay, yes, this is how you're going to move forward. This is how you're going to, like, what we'll do is we'll say, okay, this is how you're going to move forward in your marketing. This is how you're going to, again, help your favorite clients talk about you when their people are coming to them saying, hey, do you know anybody? And they, case study, all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it definitely helps to have somebody else. We always say when someone says to us, who's like your ideal client, it's this person who recognizes that it takes a village. Like these feel like really simple questions, but sometimes you're right, Sharon, you need somebody else to look at this and go, aha, this is what I see.
Okay, so what's the road here though? You figure out what makes you unique. How do you see that taking your business to the next level?
Angela, you want to hop on there?
Absolutely. So going back to what we were just talking about is finding the patterns in what makes you tick. You can almost take out a piece of paper and put a line down the middle and put, you on one column and then your client on the next column, and write down what makes you tick, but then also look at your clients, look at your ideal clients. And I think we have a slide on this. What are their what makes them tick? Not only their what are their details, not only their demographics, and we look in this when we analyze our clients, ideal clients, but besides demographics, what are the psychographics? Are they into kids sports? Are they into country clubs? Do they travel? Do they like big groups, small groups? Where are they on social media? Kind of what is their makeup and what's their profile? And look at the patterns there, and then start looking at your patterns and their patterns. And the way that it connects is if you'll start to see your patterns aligning with their patterns, and that's the client you want more of. And you had alluded to this at the beginning, Laura, clients that may not serve you at this point in time in your career, and that's okay. We say that you get to the point in your career, you don't necessarily need to work with everybody that fogs a mirror. It has a purpose at some point when you're starting out, but when you're really mid-life, mid-career, we often hear, I just want to work with nice people, because you've had those traumatic client experiences and you really want to have those nice clients, those clients that fill your buckets and help you with that work-life balance. And it could also be grooming your business to setting your business up so you can bring on more advisors or your succession plan, whatever that might be. So the reason you want to look at all those patterns is you'll start to see their connect. And when you see those patterns, then you want to market to those characteristics. So those psychographics that you saw the patterns for your ideal client, the life circumstances. We often hear that, let's say an advisor will say, well, my ideal client is a retiree. Okay, let's dig deeper. The pattern we often find is, and this isn't necessarily something you need to look at the patterns. They came to you 20 years ago. They were putting a child through college, or they were getting a divorce, or they were saving for a second home. They like to travel, whatever that might be. It's not, they came to you as a retiree. They came to you 20 years ago and built up to that point. So you want to go back and market to the 40-something, not the 60-something. I mean, it's all different from advisor firm to advisory firm, but that's really the point of it. So when you get those patterns or identify those patterns, you can market to those characteristics to attract those ideal clients that are like the ones that you love, that resonate with you. So it's kind of this whole intertwined circle, and it all connects back to what we see on the slide, targeted marketing.
Yeah. And I think the other part to this is how we help people is when we talk about their ideal client, we ask them, who are those people you want to replicate that you have in your book? And we actually interview them. And like Angela was saying, yes, we know their demographic stuff, but most of the stuff we ask them is about, like, where do you get information? Who do you lean on when you're looking for a referral? So that we can almost build that avatar. So then you have, who am I as the advisor? What makes me special and different? Where does this ideal client live? Where can I get them more information? The marriage of the two of those sort of takes us to this road sign of the targeted marketing, right? You need to start a conversation with them, and starting a conversation with them in the places and in the language. You know, we hear about like the love languages. It's sort of like, this is taking their love languages and connecting it with them in a place where they're looking to get information.
So how does that get us to this KLT, which I had never heard about until we started talking to you. So maybe you need to explain KLT to everybody.
I will. So, and the reason we put this in the middle is we feel like sometimes people are like, I target my marketing and then I become a client. Like, bam, it happens. There's this KLT, which we call know, like, and trust. We talk in a lot of acronyms, so.
And when you say it that way, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. Now it all makes sense.
It was too big for the street sign, really.
And again, think about it from the client's standpoint. They hear about you, you're recommended to them, but are they going to hand over $1 million to you tomorrow? No, they need to know you, like you, and trust you. And that's going to come from your relationship building and your marketing.
Right. Because in a lot of cases, that targeted marketing, again, it's the precursor because it's what's doing this know, like, trust building. And then understanding that it takes time. Not everybody makes a decision in the time frame that we would like them to make a decision, right? You meet them where they are and building that relationship. It might be, you know, Laura recommended I should do this. Here is my $1 million, $3 million, $5 million. But let's face it, that doesn't really happen very often. So we need we can't forget about this point. And I think a lot of advisors, as they're trying to build their business or build their better business, they get super impatient in this space.
And this is where that consistent content marketing can really pay off, because you just are constantly telling people what you believe in, what your value prop is, and how you care about them through education or whatever content you're putting out there.
And if I could jump in there, Sharon, too, all content is not the same.
Timing.
So,
you know, like,
yeah, it's not all the same. It's timing plus the content. So the way you're going to build the know, like, trust is not going into your host platform and hitting, you know, automatically send that canned content that looks the same that every advisor all over the country is also posting. It's, you know, posting pictures of you at an event or a seminar or something you're passionate about, even your kids or your family. So they learn to know you, because that's what's going to build the trust. There is a time and a place for the canned content sometimes. But that's really where we would empower you. You know, look at, you know, if you're going to take one thing away from today, is think about something that you might not be sharing with your clients. You know, advisors for the years, you know, you have your personal life and you have your advisory firm, but now they're starting to blend, and that's what's resonating with the client. So is it sharing that you're a coach for your kids' soccer team? Is it that you know, took a couple weeks and traveled Europe with your spouse? Is it that you, something unique that you love to cook? Your clients might not know that, and they want to know.
I love the story of your client, Will Hoffman, who is hyper focused on the Gen X prospect. Give us a little detail behind how he landed there and how he connects with that audience and his ideal client there.
So in the very short version is he landed in that space because he is in that space. And he recognized that that space was not getting the love. And he said, this is the group that I want to serve And then, did his homework and said, like, these people are going to be coming into a lot of money. They're at a certain point in their lives where there's a lot of these financial decisions that need to be made. But really it started with they're not getting the love, and we're all kind of missing the boat on this. When we spoke to his ideal clients, we figured out that a lot of them, like Angela was talking to, are doing things with like youth sports. Will played basketball in college. He has always been like a sports guy. He's got 3 kids, and they're all in youth sports. So again, like, let's lean into this. This is sort of a sidebar, but it's really funny. I was having lunch with him one day, and when we left, there was a running store across the street. And he's like, he's a runner. He runs marathons as fundraisers. He's like, I need to go pick up some new shoes, and I don't get near this store very often. He texted me like 30 minutes later. He's like, I'm so glad I went in there. I just picked up a new client. I'm like, excuse me? He said, I was wearing my Hoffman Wealth golf shirt and was chatting with this person. And literally the person was like at the store was like, yeah, I'm in the market for a new financial advisor. So, again, what's Hoffman Wealth Management? Blah, blah, blah. He picks up a new client who's a runner because he's sharing his love of running just even by being in the store. So I think that that's a nice kind of story of like, you put it out there, and those are things that people connect with and pick up on.
Love that. So KLT, like trust, leads to some help from consultants sometimes. And
We're climbing up the mountain.
We're climbing up the mountain. I'm impressed with our little sports car having like pretty good 4-wheel drive here. I think that's pretty impressive. Don't do it alone. I mean, I don't want this to be a commercial for like 4 consultants got together and set up a Zoom video. But for those of you that work with Laura and Sharon, you see their expertise and their understanding, and they're able to help you do things that would take you a ton of time to do on your own. It's this same piece of it. Like, you could sit there and go like, I need to figure out my USP, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what questions to ask. I don't feel like there's anything that makes me different. You can bring in people to help you do that. You can bring in people to help you figure out how to create that know, like, trust, how to convert the targeted marketing into the know, like, trust, into making them into new clients. This road sign, while I love it, I think it could be almost any place in the journey, because it's all about getting you to the top of the mountain there in the sunshine.
And
There they are.
we often say too, you're a financial advisor for a reason, because you love what you do. Unfortunately, running a business, you have to be a financial advisor. You have to be, bottle washer. You have to be a greeter. You have to be, HR. You have to be all of that. And so we pride ourselves, and I know Laura and Sharon do the same. We stay in our lane, and that's what advisors should be. Stay in their lane, do what you love to do, and that's how you're going to grow the business, is let your executive assistant do what they do best. HR, have an HR consultant, marketing consultant, whatever it might be, so that you can focus on your clients with the advisory practice of it, because it can be all consuming to work on all those other pieces. Same
reason your clients shouldn't be DIYing their investment, their financial. Get some help. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're listening.
Yes, I'm a little more brash about it when I say you're going to make more money doing your day job than you are doing our day job, because again, where the potholes are, how to do what you do, and so do we. So for you to take the time to learn how to do all these things, could you do it? Sure. Like, you're a smart person. But we bring experience, and we know kind of what piles not to step in.
You've got a QR code, right?
Yes.
Yes, we do. This is for our custom strategic marketing for wealth advisors LinkedIn group. We would like to build know, like, trust with you guys. We are appreciative that everybody was here today. Here's a way to learn a little bit more about us, about what we're talking about. So we would love for you to join us there.
Get out your phone, follow the QR
Oh,
code, and
hold on,
please,
rushing my deck.
please don't miss our October Advisor Video Academy, where we will be speaking with the amazing Marie Swift about building your credibility with client testimonials. You are going to get some advisor case studies. So if you are on the ledge thinking about taking this step off the ledge and into client testimonials, you are going to get some really good advice from Marie, and of course from our team also. But Angela and Elyse, we're so excited you were here today. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, your KLTs and your USPs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys. And we're
sticking with our mountain. We're sticking with the mountain theme for our quote of the day. Everyone wants to live on top of the mountain, but all the happiness and growth occurs while you're climbing it, and possibly with some Sherpas on your side.
And snacks. Are there snacks?
Snacks. Absolutely. We all need snacks.
Trail mix with lots of M&Ms.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here, for taking time with us today. Great seeing you, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.